Alright, I'm going to show you how to replace the heating element on my Samsung dryer and also check if it's good and check the other thermal components on there to see if they are good. Let's get started. Alright, first thing you're going to want to do is unplug it. Door. I'll pop this top. I just put a foot here and pull up and it pops open. I got 3 screws right here. Take those out. And 3 screws right there. Now I can take this front part off and just lift this up and then kind of grab here and here, and then you kind of pull up so you can get this lip over these tabs. There's 2 tabs here, so just lift up and it'll come off. Kind of hinges back, and you can pick it up off with it. There's some hooked feet down below. So you got that foot, that hooked foot, and that hooked foot right there. They go into some grooves down there in the bottom of this front panel. If you can get the door switch unplugged, then unplug it. And then just move the whole assembly out of the way. But don't forget to plug it back in. I can't get it. And if you can't get this unplugged, that's fine. Just make sure you wrap a shirt around this cord so that when it starts doing this and rubbing, that it won't rub a hole in the wire. So keep that safe. Alright, so down here on the right side, you can see right in there the heating element. So in order to get this all out, I got a bracket here that's holding it up. Alright, so I just lifted it up. Alright, that screws off, so now I'm going to take these out. I'm also going to unplug this to get it out of the way. Just squeeze this. Alright, so brackets unscrewed from everything. I'm just going to lift up on the heating element housing and then lift up on this and try and get it out of there. So in order to get this thing out, I really had to kind of get this heating element up and out of the way and pushed forward a bit, and then tilt this up and then reach in there and grab the other side and bend it forward and then pull back in order to get it to unhook because of these feet right here. Alright, so as I pull the heating element assembly out, I'm going to be unplugging wire. So here's the 2 wires for the heating element. And make sure you're aware of the way it was wired before you take it out. Take a picture of the wiring or something. So here's the troubleshooting manual for the dryer. And right here is the heating element assembly. And here's the 2 thermostats and the heating element. And up here it shows that the thermostat should be basically a short, under an ohm. thermostat 2, under an ohm. So when you measure ohms across it, it should be 0 across these two, or if you have it on the ring setting to show continuity, it'll beep. And then the heating element itself will show around 10 ohms. And if it shows infinite, which is open, some meters say different things. Mine says ouch. But if it shows open, then it's bad. But if it rings, then it's most likely good if you have it on the ring setting. But if you have it on the ohm setting, it will measure around 10 ohms. And on the schematic, there's the two thermostats in series with the heating element right there. So if these open up, which is basically they open up at a certain temperature, it says right down here, thermal cutoff, high limit, then it won't heat. And if they're bad, they'll be open all the time and won't heat. And if your heating element's open, it won't heat either. But in this video, the old heating element is actually good. I ended up finding that the one of the contacts in the motor, it's actually the top one there, that gives it a feedback to the control board, was bad. So I ended up having to change the motor. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to test these devices here, and also show that your heating element is good or bad. And then I'm going to go ahead and replace it because I have it. Alright, so here's the assembly, and I got my junk multimeter here on the ring setting so that when there's continuity, it makes a beep. So each one of these should show a beep whenever, each one of these should sound a beep whenever I touch it on both terminals. Oh, that's fantastic. So, troubleshooting the heating element. So this says it's a 5300 watt, 240 volt heating element. So that would mean, I did the math on a calculator, it's around 10.9 ohms for the heating element. And it comes to 9.7. So this heating element is good. So I have the heating element assembly out, and there's the heating element. And I'm going to go ahead and take this apart so that I can remove and replace the heating element. So the screws are a little different, so make sure you keep track of where they go. So I got all the screws out, and to get the top cover off, just pick it up. It's got a couple of tabs that are inside slots there. And then this heating element can come out after you push these through. So in order to get these pushed through, there's a little tab there that's bent up, as you can see. And on the bottom, there's a tab there that's bent down. So you got to get a hold of those tabs and bend them back flat so that you can actually get it out, push through. There we go. Just wiggle it enough till they finally pull out. So now that these are out, this whole coil will just come off. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the inside here. Now that everything's looking good as new, let's go ahead and put our brand new coil in. The coil wire that is on the top, it is the one that will go into the top slot of the ceramic piece. So just stick it in like you would have seen the old one come out. Alright, so just push it on in. And the same with the bottom. Bottom coil goes to the bottom ceramic. And it goes in there pretty easy. Then you just need to bend the tabs on it. So it doesn't matter which side you bend which way, but one side bend up and one side bend down to keep it in there. Something that's going to probably make it easier here is I'm going to go ahead and line up the bottom side here that I have. Get it hooked in. Now get the heating element lined up. It keeps wanting to move on me. Okay, since I got these two screws in, I'm going to go ahead and put in all the screws on this side. Make sure that your tabs here are up in the slots of this upper cover before you do that. Alright, now it's time to try and get this squeezed in. So I'm with it kind of separated like this. Now I can squeeze in the top part and then get it aligned with the coil with the heating element holes. There we go. Go. And then now I can squeeze in the bottom part and then actually screw it. Double check all your screws, make sure everything's tight. Also, look down on these coils. Make sure that this wire is not touching this coil. It's really close, very close. So I want to go ahead and push this wire up a bit. Be careful though, because you don't want to unlodge the coil from that separator. But bend this up a bit if it's really close to that coil right there. So that's what I did, is I grabbed it right here and then just bent it up a bit to get it away from this bottom coil. So that's good. We need to get the heating element in there first because we won't be able to get it in after that bracket's put in. So I'm just going to set it in there. Alright, so I'm just going to bend these feet down just a very teeny bit. Just to make it a little easier to get in. Very slightly bend down. So, if you want to look in there, there's the 2 feet right there above that that circle hole that's plugged that I gotta get the bracket into. Okay, gotta get that heating element. Oh, there we go. Went in there pretty easy. Make sure that both feet are in before I say that. Yeah, both feet are in there. All right. So back there you can see the air duct that it needs to fit into. So it's in there now. And then this just needs to line up. There's a slotted spot to make sure it goes forward enough that it has to slide into on this bracket here. And I cut myself. And then go ahead and put the screw in. Alright, as you can see, I forgot to plug it in before I installed the heating element, so I'm going to try to reach back there and do it now. Alright, that sucked, so I highly recommend that you plug it in before you before you put the heating element back in. I got this other plug here, don't want to forget about that. Alright, let's put the front panel back on. So just hook the feet at the bottom and then push it up. And before you go screwing anything down, go ahead and make sure that all the wires are within the cable locks here. This one is not, so I'm gonna have to put it back in. Keep that wire from falling onto the drum when it's spinning. So I'm gonna install these 3 screws here. Okay, time to plug it in and test it out. So before starting it up, lift this up. Just double check, make sure the wires are good. They look good. And this part just shut down. It's locked into place. Now, I've popped this top so many times that this was getting bent inward by these things from pushing it down and snapping it in so many times. So I ended up having to grab some pliers and bend it back out so it kind of, as you can see, it kind of bends down a bit, and that'll make it to where it'll actually latch when you push it back down onto it. Let's test it out. That is a beautiful sound. Oh yeah, I feel warmth in there. Now, thanks for watching.